Hello and welcome to another episode of the UCLA Bruins Insider Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Connor Moreno, lead writer for UCLA Bruins on SI. And today we're going to go ahead and continue our series where we rank UCLA's opponents, not opponents, but rank their games this season. Last episode, which I actually just recorded about 30 minutes before this one, last episode we talked about number 11, which was UNLV. And this episode, of course, we're going to move on to number 10. The first two, 12 and 11, were New Mexico and UNLV, and I kind of ranked them in a similar fashion given that they are just non-conference and unranked opponents. I do think that UNLV does hold more weight than New Mexico, given that they are a much better team and actually received votes in the AP preseason top 25 poll. But I do think that conference games and games against opponents a little bit more unfavorable are going to be a little bit more important than UNLV. And now, I've prefaced this every single episode, and I'm going to continue prefacing it. I do believe that every single game on UCLA's schedule is of supreme importance, obviously. There's only 12 games in the college football season. Every game is more important than the next, but I do think that some games hold a bit more weight than others, and we're gonna see that with these next two ratings. But for number 10, we're moving on to Penn State. Now, you're probably asking me, why is a game against one of the best teams in the nation ranked so low on this list? Well, that's because the answer's in the question right there. UCLA is going to be heavy underdogs. Penn State is, according to the AP Top 25 preseason poll, the second best team in the nation. Excuse me. And one of the top teams in the country. UCLA is not going to be favored by any means. Obviously, an upset would be great, but I mean, how likely is that, especially against Penn State? I do think, and you're probably thinking, like, by my logic, why isn't New Mexico or UNLV games that UCLA should and needs to win more important than Penn State, the Penn States of the world? Well, I do think that there is a little bit of a sliver of importance because they are conference games. I do think that conference games hold more weight than non-conference games, especially in this era of college football. That isn't going to change just because it's Penn State and UCLA is going to be heavy underdogs. Now, I will say that I do think UCLA is going to lose this game. I do think that this is one of two, maybe three penciled in losses for UCLA this season. But this Penn State game comes at a pretty crucial time in the season. It is week 6. It is their 5th game of the year. And it falls in between, I would say, 5 or 6 games that UCLA could absolutely win. So you have Utah to open up the season, then you have UNLV, and then you move on to New Mexico, and then you open conference play against Northwestern, and then you have Penn State, and then after that you have Michigan State and Maryland. Gosh, I'm so sorry for yawning. But I say that because there is a very real chance that UCLA could start 6-1, 5-2 this season. I think 5-2 is definitely the goal, with one of those losses being maybe to Utah or Michigan State or UNLV if that happens. But hear me out, and I've been saying this, I've been echoing this. You start against Utah. That is your first litmus test. If you beat them, you move on to UNLV, beat them. Move on to New Mexico, that's a gimme. You beat them. Northwestern, you're going to be favored. That's a 4-0 start before you head to the Rose Bowl against Penn State. You pencil in that as a loss. That's a 4-1 start. And you have Michigan State and Maryland the next 2 weeks. If UCLA is the team that we think they are going to be by that point in the season, you beat Michigan State, you beat Maryland, and you're looking at a 6-1 start for the Bruins, which is, you probably couldn't ask for a better start from UCLA. And then from there, you've already kind of gotten a bowl game. Now you're just going for wins. Now you're going for 8 or 9 wins that season. So that's the way I think of this Penn State game being a loss. But it's an important loss because I don't know why I yawn so much when I record these, man. I'm not even tired at all. I just yawn. But Penn State is an important game because it's a good loss. I think it's a good loss. And I think that whenever you're playing against one of the best teams in the nation, you definitely want to put up a fight. And depending on where the season breaks by the time Penn State comes up on the schedule, you're really going to see how UCLA is going to react to adversity, especially against Penn State. So yeah, that's why I think Penn State is ranked. And it's not even that they're ranked low. It's just that, why they are ranked where they're at. So for every opponent, I've been previewing them according to what ESPN's Bill Connolly has been writing about them. And of course, he previewed the entire Big Ten, Penn State included. And I'm going to go ahead and read what he wrote about them. James Franklin has made college football predictable in an almost jarring way. Over the past 3 seasons, Penn State is 34-2 as a favorite, 27-0 when favored by at least 6 points. Meanwhile, the Nittany Lions are 0-6 as underdogs. They win and lose the games they're supposed to. That makes them very successful. It also gives them a glass ceiling. If that doesn't change now, will it ever? Penn State has more proven entities than any team in college football in 2025. Franklin is one of the sport's best coaches. Offensive coordinator Andy Kotelnicki helped PSU improve from 30th to 9th in offensive SP+ in his first season calling plays, and in the past decade alone, new defensive coordinator Jim Knowles has crafted Oklahoma State's best defense in 15 years, Ohio State's best in 25, and Duke's best in 60+. He's magnificent. Penn State has finished 7th or better in defensive SP+ for 4 straight years and 6 of the past 8, and Knowles inherits known quality at every position. And Danny Dennis Sutton and tackle Zane Durant combined 26 TFLs and 11.5 sacks. Up front, Tony Rojas, Dom DeLuca, and North Carolina transfer Amari Campbell at linebacker, and corner A.J. Harris and safety Zakee Wheatley in the back. The depth isn't amazing. Of the 17 defenders with at least 300 snaps last year, only 8 return, including only 2 of 6 up front. But when you have a track record, you get the benefit of the doubt. On offense, running backs Katrin Allen and Nicholas Singleton both returned for their senior seasons. In 3 years, they've combined for a jaw-dropping 6,979 yards from scrimmage, 5.9 per touch, and 68 touchdowns. The offensive line returns 4 starters, including an All-American candidate in guard Vega Ioane. And the receiving core, which was far too limited last season, received portal upgrades in Devontae Ross from Troy, Trevor Penna from Syracuse, and Kyron Hudson from USC. All-world tight end Tarla Warren is gone, but returning tight ends Luke Reynolds and Khalil Dinkins are good by non-Warren standards. And if the wideouts are ready to produce more, that's a net win. That leaves Drew Aller, the number 2 pocket passer in the 2022 recruiting class. He was seen as a savior for the moment when he arrived in Happy Valley. It was going to be almost impossible for him to live up to the hype. But after an up-and-down 2023 debut, he improved in his first year with Kotelnicki throwing 3,327 yards and 24 touchdowns and finishing 17th in total QBR. He's clearly good, but it's difficult to win 3 or 4 CFP games with a merely top 20 quarterback. He probably needs to improve. He has one more year, though having such an outstanding supporting cast will help. If PSU continues the win as favorite, lose as a dog thing in 2025, the Nittany Lions probably will reach the Big Ten championship game again, having lost only at Ohio State on November 1st. They'll probably be favored in every other game, especially through a ridiculously weak conference slate. Nevada, Florida International, Villanova. Rarely do all the arrows point in the right direction the way they do for the Nittany Lions heading into the season. It would be a shame not to take advantage of that. So, they're going to be one of, if not the best teams in college football this season, and UCLA has them on their schedule in the middle of the season. Again, I do think UCLA is going to lose, but it is going to be another test to see their fight when their back is against the wall, and that was number 10. Tomorrow we'll have number 9, unless some news comes up that we're going to talk about. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to the UCLA Bruins Insider Podcast. We'll see you tomorrow.